Hi there guys, I'm Nikhil from Greedy Tech, and in this video I'll be reviewing the Asus Zenfone Lite L1. Now I've already posted the unboxing video, so check that out for the physical overview and the complete specifications. In this video, I'll be just diving into the review. Now this phone, Asus Zenfone Lite L1, is sold exclusively online on Flipkart and it's available only in one variant with 2GB of RAM and 16GB of storage, and it's priced at 6,000 rupees. Now this phone is like a direct competition for the Redmi 6A, which is also priced at 6,000 rupees. So throughout this review, I'll be comparing it with Redmi 6A whenever it's possible. Now let's start the review with the design and build. Now this phone has a complete plastic build with a nice matte finish. Yes, it is made of plastic but doesn't feel all that cheap. Now this is supposed to be the black color, but it looks like the dark grey. For some reason in 2018, Asus has been messing up with color names and the colors. Black looks like grey or blue and gold looks like rose gold. Anyway, even this looks good, and if you want my recommendation, go with the black color or dark grey, whatever you want to call it. Now coming to the overall presence of this phone feels pretty good to hold in the hand due to its design and the compact build. Buttons are sufficiently elevated and have a nice clicky feel to them. Now the phone has a thickness of 8.2 mm and weighs just 140 grams. Now because of that, phone feels pretty sleek and lightweight in the hand. Now it does have a small camera bump to it, but even when you're using the phone on a flat surface, it's not wobbling, so it's completely manageable. Now on the front, it is a completely flat display. So when compared to other phones which have a 2.5D curved glass, display surface on this phone is not that smooth, but compared to those phones, you can actually use a good tempered glass on this phone without any air bubbles. So that's a pretty good thing. So guys, on the whole, design and build of this phone are pretty good, especially considering the price, and I really don't have any complaints. Now coming to the hardware section, this phone comes with all the basic sensors including a compass, but it is missing gyroscope and a fingerprint scanner. Now for the price, missing gyroscope is not a big deal, but I wish companies could offer us a fingerprint scanner, at least in 2018. It's like the most essential thing. Now this is a SIM card tray. I thought it might be pretty weak, but it's actually very well built and feels sturdy. Now obviously this phone does support dual SIM with 4G and VoLTE, but unlike the recent trend, it doesn't support dual 4G and dual VoLTE. So on this phone, you can't use two SIMs in 4G at the same time, and you can't use two Jio SIMs on this phone at the same time. You can use 4G or VoLTE on the primary SIM, and the secondary SIM will switch to 2G or 3G. Now coming back to fingerprint scanner, as an alternative, we do get the super famous Face Unlock feature, which we have been seeing on all the phones, and it even works on this phone. Like in well-lit conditions and good lighting conditions, it takes like 2 to 3 seconds to unlock the phone, and in bad lighting conditions or low lighting conditions, it's more of a hit or a miss. Most of the time it doesn't work. So guys, on the whole, in the hardware department there are no major issues. I just wish it had a fingerprint scanner. Now coming to the display, this phone sports a 5.45-inch IPS display with the new 18:9 aspect ratio with 82.3% screen to body ratio and 400 nits of brightness. Now let me tell you, this phone's display is super bright when compared to other phones in the price segment like the Realme C1 or even the Redmi 6A. Even the auto brightness sensor works without any issues. It's a bit aggressive, like it changes the brightness levels pretty quickly, but that's okay. Now coming to the picture quality, it is once again pretty good, viewing angles are great and color reproduction is also pretty good. Especially when we compare to Redmi 6A, colors on this phone are slightly more accurate. Now because of the small display size and the new aspect ratio, phone fits pretty comfortably in the hand and it's actually usable single-handedly. So if you're looking for a phone for single-handed usage, this is a pretty good choice. Now just for a quick comparison, display on this phone is brighter than Redmi 6A and even the Realme C1, which is priced at 7,000 rupees. Even in terms of picture quality, display panel on Asus L1 is better than Redmi 6A. When compared to Realme C1, they are equally good. So guys, on the whole, display on this phone is pretty good and better than other phones in the same price segment. Now coming to cameras, on the rear this one has a single 13MP camera with f2.0 aperture with phase detection autofocus, and on the front it is a 5MP camera with f2.4 aperture. Now cameras on this phone are good for the price, especially the rear camera has good color reproduction and good focusing speeds. Even the front camera is kinda okay. In well-lit conditions it does take some pretty good selfies, but in low lighting conditions, skin tones doesn't look accurate. That can be fixed with a future update. Now this phone also offers portrait mode for both the front and rear cameras, but as it uses just a single camera, edge detection on rear camera portrait shots isn't perfect. Sometimes it simply doesn't work. With that said, portrait selfies look good. Now coming to low light performance, images are a bit dull and soft, that's to be expected, but color reproduction is good. Now coming to video recording, we can record video in Full HD resolution using both the front and rear cameras. Now there's no stabilization, but color reproduction and focusing speeds are pretty good. If you have stable hands, you can pull off a stable footage. So guys, on the whole, cameras on this phone are good considering the price, but they're not the best. Especially the front-facing camera in low lighting conditions needs to be improved. Now coming to performance, this phone sports a Snapdragon 430 processor with Adreno 505 GPU with 2GB of RAM and 16GB of storage. Now these are the Antutu and Geekbench scores. Now this is an entry-level processor launched like 2 years ago, so obviously it isn't powerful. But if you're a very normal user, it should be sufficient. You can play smaller games without any issues. Now in terms of raw performance, Redmi 6A is better than Asus L1. But when I played PUBG Mobile on both phones, Asus L1 was much smoother than Redmi 6A. So if playing PUBG is a priority for you, then Asus L1 is definitely a better choice than Redmi 6A. By the way, there are no heating issues on this phone. I played an entire game of PUBG and phone became slightly warm and that's it. No other heating issues. Now coming to the software section, this phone is running a heavily skinned version of Android called Zen UI based on Android 8.0.0 Oreo, and it has a September security patch. Now this is not an Android One phone, so you won't get monthly security updates, but you will get them regularly, like once in 2 to 3 months. Now coming to the overall user experience, it's not very smooth like stock Android. It stutters a bit from time to time, and that's to be expected considering 2GB of RAM and Snapdragon 430 processor. Now coming to the software features, it is loaded with tons of features which I've seen in Asus Zenfone 5Z. It has a Game Genie mode, Kids mode, Easy mode, Zen Motion for screen gestures like double tap to wake, glove mode, one-handed mode, and literally many more. Now coming to memory management, it is good on this phone, but because of all the power profiles and other features like auto start permission and background usage, after a few minutes, all the apps running in the background get closed. We can improve it by changing few settings, but with just 2GB of RAM, that's to be expected. So guys, on the whole, software experience has been pretty good and there are no major bugs. So if you like more software features, then you will just love this phone. Now coming to the audio department, audio experience on the headset was pretty much average. There isn't anything exciting to talk about, but it does come with an audio wizard to tweak the audio experience. Now this phone has a mono speaker under the right grille, and in terms of speaker loudness, it is kinda low. It even has a dedicated outdoor mode, but even enabling that doesn't make a huge difference. It's still good enough for ringtones, watching videos and alarms, but I wish it was slightly more louder. Now coming to the battery department, this phone packs a 3000 mAh battery with a 5W power adapter, and it takes more than 3 hours to charge the phone completely. I have used this phone just like a basic user, like for watching videos on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram and WhatsApp, and it did last me a day. I got almost 4 hours of screen on time. Just like the Asus 5Z, even this phone comes with a lot of battery related features like different battery modes which can be enabled automatically at a specific time or based on the current battery percentage. It also has Auto Start Manager, and you can also stop applications from running in the background. So by tweaking these settings, you can have an even better battery life. So guys, to conclude, for a price of 6,000 rupees, Asus Zenfone Lite L1 is definitely a much better choice than Redmi 6A if you're looking for a phone with better display, lot of cool software features, and especially if you like to play PUBG on this phone. So guys, what do you think about this phone? Do let me know by commenting below this video, and if you're planning to buy this phone, use the link in the description, it always helps the channel. If you want us to make any specific video, tweet out to us with the hashtag AskGreedyTech on Twitter and I'll try to make it as soon as possible. I'm Nikhil from Greedy Tech signing off. Have a nice day.